Well, guess what? You know it's Wednesday, and you're back with your girl, Marquita Beyond. And today I have on another wonderful guest, as always, and his name is Tarryl Daniels. Am I correct?
That's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna let him introduce himself, so because he can tell you more about himself than I can, and he can tell you in a better way. So I'm gonna let him take it over right fast and hand it back over when you're done. Tarryl, let's go.
All right. Say word. Good morning again. Hello, everyone. My name is Tarryl Daniels, as she explained. So I am a veteran. I got out of the military like in the early 2000s, and I've just kind of been trying to figure it out ever since then. I recognized that when I was in the military that, I was getting a lot of good life skills, but I recognized that the military wasn't necessarily going to be the place for me for the long haul. I recognized it was a place for me to capture some upward mobility and get out of my poverty-stricken situation that I was born into. So I joined the military, and I got out of the military after about 6 years, and I've been out here in the world just kind of trying to figure it out. After the military, I went overseas as a government contractor, working for the United States government in a kind of a corporate fashion. But you're still kind of over there. And so after that, I thrust myself into corporate America. I ended up working in DC for a little while. A few ups and downs throughout that time frame. Real life kind of gets in the way. Created a family in the interim. I had a wife and a family and all that, but I ended up losing that because of the grind. And so I recently just stepped out of corporate America a few months ago, and that kind of brings me to where I am right now. I met you at a millionaire mindset meetup, and we started to forge a relationship, and here we are.
Yes. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, he can give a better introduction than me about himself and his life and, his experiences. And so, it was a great, meeting you at that meetup. And, so that's what brings us here today, and just connecting and, on business-minded levels, because I tell you, this brother here is shining. He is doing his thing. So we're gonna get into, his military background, which is awesome. Thank you for your service. And so the thing is, I gotta tell y'all this. I spoke with Tarryl about a week ago, and he was on the podcast, y'all. So this is what y'all don't know. He's been on the podcast.
I was your first guest.
Yes. What was like the first, like when I was just getting started. Guess what though? Technical difficulties. Me just started, getting it in the bud, out the bud, didn't know what was going on, and trying to figure out the wrongs and the rights of it. And that episode did not ever debut, put it that way. So his gracious, kind self, is blessing us today with his presence, and it's just a pleasure to host him once again on the Pinkly podcast, for him to really give you all the gems that he gave me on that podcast. And as I was stating a week ago, we was like talking for about an hour about all the things he's doing and his successes. I'm like, man, we should have turned the camera on.
Right. It seems like every time I talk to you, it's like an hour and a half long conversation at a minimum.
Exactly. So I'm like, look, we done talked all this time. We ain't recording nothing. We got to do this again. So he instantly booked. And so that's what brings us here today. I don't have any notes. We just going to talk like we talked on that conversation and just go in there. So Tarryl, just, fill us in more. He's doing the, he's got some great things going. So I'm going to stick with one right now. So with the Airbnb, which was something that I was just fascinated about, y'all, and we're going to drop that link below. Believe that. It's in Atlanta. And if you're coming out here to Atlanta, it's the place you want to stay, because, it is phenomenal. Give them more about that. Tell them more about how that thing is set up and this and that. Just tell them more.
All right, cool. All right, so actually at the meeting where I met you, I was introduced to my Airbnb mentor, Mr. Zoe the Goat. He took me up under his wing, started giving me some game on how to get into the Airbnb space. So I bought his course. I paid for the higher tier mentorship. He and I have been working pretty closely over the last couple of months to kind of get my unit up and running. So he told me that the way that you need to go with Airbnb is a theme unit, right? So I had to figure out what I was going to do for a theme, because I guess the traditional way of doing Airbnb is, you put some nice furniture in there and you just kind of let people stay in your space. A bed in each room, nice furniture, and then that's it, right? But his model is, not very different, but it's a little bit different, but it makes a big difference as far as your bottom line at the end of the month. So what he taught me to do is to put as many beds as I can in the space, right? So I'm maximizing my space with the most beds that I could possibly fit into the rooms where it would be comfortable and not an eyesore. And I also have rollaway beds in the closets. So that in the event that they want to book with more people, I have a total, it's a 2-bedroom unit. And in that 2-bedroom, I have 5 literal beds set up. I have 1 queen bed set up in the master suite, and then I have 3 twin beds set up in the guest bedroom. So I legitimately turned a 2-bedroom apartment into a place that can sleep 7. So I have those 2 beds, 3 beds in the guest bedroom, the 1 bedroom in the master, and then I have 2 rollaway beds in the closet. So 1 downstairs and 1 upstairs. So total in my unit, I can sleep 7 people, right? And because I can sleep 7 people, I can actually charge a lot more than a regular Airbnb listing is going to charge. Around at my unit, which is in Atlantic Station, Atlanta, Georgia, the average rate for Airbnb on a nightly stay is somewhere around $100, maybe a little bit less than that for a night. And on the weekend, it's, close to or comparable to maybe like $200 or so. But I'm charging significantly more than that because more people can actually book my space. So when somebody goes on Airbnb and they're looking for a place to rent, right? If they're traveling in a group, like Atlanta is a destination city, right? We don't have the theme parks that, Florida has or Cali or anything like that. We don't have the beaches, but for whatever reason, Atlanta is a destination location and people come here. But something that's really interesting about the data that I've been viewing on Airbnb about my unit is that most of the people that actually book my unit live like within 300 miles of Atlanta, Georgia. So it's not even a lot of people that are coming from way out of town. Most of the people are from in-state, and over 90% of the people are like within a 300-mile radius, according to Airbnb's data.
Wow. Okay, so I like how, you said that it's pick a theme. If you're going to get into Airbnb, to differentiate yourself from just someone who's placing something on Airbnb, you all decided to go with a themed Airbnb, which is the OutKast theme, which, resonates with Atlanta, and I just love the concept behind it. And so with that, you're able to pick up more bookings because you set yourself apart and differently. So with that being said, do you recommend that for a newcomer as well, or just ease your way into doing things? Is that the main focus, is to make sure that you theme it out for someone who's trying to start in Airbnb?
So based on the reviewer feedback from my Airbnb guests, they really enjoy the themed experience. So, just coming to Atlanta is kind of a thing for people in itself. We live here, so it's different. But when people come here, people have certain expectations, right? So I wanted to center my theme around like the culture here in Atlanta. And we all know that, Atlanta is, pretty much Wakanda, right? And so I wanted to center my theme around something that would resonate with something that was near and dear to me, which is OutKast. It's the group OutKast. I've been listening to them since I was a teenager, and even still today, they're heavy on my playlist. So I just decided to go with that. But I think that the theme is really important based on the reviews that I've been getting from my customers, because they always talk about the experience, right? And the decor and the artwork. Like that's really what it's all about. And it's like the better your artwork is, the better your theme is, the more details that you put into your unit, the more people are willing to pay. They feel justified in paying what you're gonna charge them.
Right, right. And just to say that, the justifying the price, not only are they able to sleep up to 7 in this, is it the 2-bedroom unit, but
Mm-hmm.
also getting the experience of the culture here in Atlanta, which, makes it like, okay, that's worth this a night.
Yeah, for sure. So around Atlanta Station, that's, a destination for, even people that live here. Like a lot of people like to hang out there. There's lots of shopping, movie theaters, department stores, grocery stores, etc. So there's a lot to offer. You can go downstairs right now, and right next door, there's an ice skating rink right now. So, not only do you get the experience inside the unit, but once you step outside, you get all this other culture right here that's in walking distance. You won't even need a car.
Exactly, exactly. So it saves you cost on Uber because I love going to Atlantic Station. I don't stay close to Atlantic Station, but it's just so much to do. You get the movie, bowling, and just the atmosphere out there. It's so much to do just there in the area. So like you're winning with that unit. And so with that being said, I want to kind of go back. You said you grew up in poverty-stricken, environment. Like a majority of us, like myself, in that environment being, just really pretty much, the lower class. So what shifted you to become this entrepreneur that you are today outside of the corporate, because corporate was the next step up, like for many of us, okay, getting a corporate job. So what shifted you to become this entrepreneur?
Well, definitely. So like I think that an easy way to like transition class in America is through the military, right? So there are a few people in my family that served in the military, and I was always an individual that learned things as I experienced them or I saw them. Reading from books is definitely a great way to learn, but like the whole practicality of like real life experience just seems to resonate a little bit better with me. So like in my family, I saw uh, the way that I was growing up. I saw that the way that the people in the house that I was with that were growing up and living, and then I saw the other people in my family that were in the military. And I wanted better, and I wanted to leave, so I left. So I joined the military, following in the footsteps of some of my family members, uh, mainly my aunt and uncle. And so after I got into the military, I was I did the junior ROTC thing in high school too. So it was like I was almost in the path to do the military thing. And I did the military thing, and I had some really good success in the military. Also, I was leveling up pretty quickly, and I went to war. And yeah, I wasn't trying to do that again. When I came back from that deployment, I was like, I can't do this. I was married, I had a kid. I couldn't imagine, getting taken out over there and then not being able to rear my child. So, so after I got out of the military, like I said, I went overseas and I was in government contracting, and they brought me back to the U.S. and I was in D.C. So I was in D.C. for a couple of years, just kind of figuring it out, learning my way, trying to work my way up the corporate ranks of America. But one of the things that I realized, I would say quickly, but not quickly enough, is that my peers that didn't often look like me. I worked in corporate America as a network engineer. So what I used to do is like write code for routers and switches. So like inside the router that's in your house that you use for Wi-Fi, like I would write code to make those behave in a certain way. And although it was lucrative for what I knew, it was lucrative for what I was exposed to as a child. But in the grand scheme of it, six figures in corporate America really isn't a whole lot of money. I mean, it'll definitely pay your bills, A lot of people think that, you know, the trap is, you know, a big stupid dope house in the middle of the hood with boards on it and fiends coming in and out, and people think that's the trap. You know, I think the trap is corporate America. I think the trap is student loan debt. I think the trap is university, right? Because once you get into all of that, yeah, once you get in and stuck in the rut of academics, right? Somebody's got to pay for that. It's not free unless you get a scholarship, right? So if you do have to pay for it and you take out all the student loan debts, right? The trap is to trick you into doing that so you can then get a job working in corporate America and never really make enough to pay that money back, or to be in debt forever and paying interest on something that doesn't really matter anyway. And I'm not gonna say that college education doesn't matter, because it definitely does. It just hits differently for me. So like I'm out here on my entrepreneurship journey at this time, and I mean I have a graduate degree. Like I have an undergraduate degree in computer science and I have a graduate degree in business. And I feel like I've learned more from the mentors that I've paid for myself than I did when I was going to undergrad and grad school. So I'm just trying to stay and teach my family like how not to get caught up in the trap.
Wow, so true. Because me and my daughter having this conversation now, and she was like, "Mom, can I take a gap year?" I said, "Hunted, I'm with the gap year, you know, because I don't want her to brush in the trap, you know. Like you said, many people who have degrees are not using those degrees, not working in that field, or they're on their own entrepreneurship journey. And I say this, college have its pros, being you're able to network and meet people while you're there. But for the most part, it seems just like systematic trapping. Is that all right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, they're charging like so much money for this education that a lot of, I'm not gonna say a lot of it, but a lot of it is, but you know, some of it's false, you know, like I mean, they're literally, and I'm not talking about like post high school education at the moment, but like they're still teaching children in elementary schools all over America that Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Not only that, I was talking to someone the other day, and we was talking about dinosaurs. I was like, what's a dinosaur? Tyrannosaurus? I said, you know what? Why in the hell were we even learning about dinosaurs? We should have been learning about credit and how to survive and live in this world instead of them teaching us about some dinosaurs. I've never seen them dinosaurs.
Right. Like, I mean,
really? Why would we even learn about dinosaurs?
I mean, you're not gonna ever see a dinosaur. I mean, they're extinct. I mean, you know, I think it's important to learn your history, so that you don't repeat the mistakes of the past. But education is so subjective, right? It's like you should learn what you want to learn. And right now, I'm trying to learn business. And like I said, the mentorship that I paid for outside of student loans is paying way more dividends than graduate school.
Yes. I agree. Like I've learned so much more in a book outside of school. I'm not gonna say anything, but just in a better place and the elevating and excelling I've been doing is because of my own research and resources outside of, you know, the education I got. I didn't graduate though. I finished in 10th grade and got a GED, and I did go get a 2 years associates in college. So, you know, because I felt that was the norm, that was the right thing, that's the path that we take, you know, to strive towards this America, you know, grand scheme of things per se. And so with that being said, and you coming to where you are now, just in your entrepreneurship journey, you said more dividends on your return on investment. And we was discussing it, how you invested. Can we say numbers here? Is numbers okay? Can we talk numbers?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you said you invested $3,000, but what you're looking to gain on it, that investment is like, give it to them. Like, just talk about it.
So like, no cap, right? Like I paid 3 bands for mentorship, right? Which is actually inexpensive to a lot of the other people that are charging for mentorship out here, right? I made that $3,000 back the first month.
Wow.
So like in my first,
Invest in yourself, people. Invest in yourself.
yeah, like it was tenfold. Like like I'm gonna make hundreds of thousands of dollars off a $3,000 investment in myself, right? And meanwhile, at the end of all of my education in the traditional brick and mortar environment, right, my student loan debt was like somewhere around $180,000, right? But this $3,000 investment that I made in myself is gonna yield incredible dividends.
And let me say that when you invested that 3,000, it multiplies, because not only are you going to be able to make that kind of money, but you have a son. You have other people feeding into. So that 3,000 multiplies to how many people you're able to help, you know, and then you're able to literally teach from your own experience to others, you know, like for me being a coach, like whenever I invest in myself as a coach, everything I invest in, it multiplies. Like that 3,000 gonna multiply. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just about you. That's the thing. When you're investing in yourself, people, it's more, it's bigger than you. So that's amazing.
Right. So he's not the first mentor that I purchased access to. I have another mentor for my cars, because I'm also in the car rental space also, and I purchased mentorship from another entrepreneur, Pushman Mitch, and he taught me how to like rock the rental car game. So this is I'm still under 12 months and doing rental cars. So far I'm up to 6 cars with my Turo fleet. And I started in March of 2021. And I also started Airbnb in 2021, but I started in December of 2021. So like, you know, it's January, it's like a month in. But just in 1 year, I started 2 businesses. And so I'm just really excited about 2022 and where 22 is going to take me based off of the things that I've learned in 2021. So based off of some of the things that I learned in 2021, like you said, I can, you know, teach my family, right? I have 2 sons, right? And I have a 19-year-old kid and I have a 12-year-old kid. And my 19-year-old kid has been soaking up the game that I've been giving him, that I've learned. And so like, that's when, you know, stuff works, is when you teach it to somebody else and it works. So like my 19-year-old kid that doesn't have a traditional job, that only works with me on a day-to-day basis, helping me out with my rental cars, right? He has 2 of his own cars, right? He has a 2015 Audi Q5, and he has a 2020 Kia Soul, and he has both of those cars on Turo. And based off of some of the other game that I learned from some of my mentorship, they've taught me about credit and how to leverage credit. So I've been able to build my son's credit profile from when he was 16 years old. I had him as authorized users on my credit cards. And now my 19-year-old kid has a $15,000 credit card. And that's just one of his credit cards. He has multiple credit cards, but his highest limit coming out the gate, first credit card ever, is $15,000, just because somebody gave me the game and I'm just passing it on to my team.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't have a little sound effect, but hey.
Right.
And yeah, so the Turo game, like, you know, you've been putting me on the Turo game, and I actually, you know, teaching my daughter that for her own car, and she be wanting, no, we're gonna get this money, we're gonna make it an asset, not a liability. Yeah. And so think about it. And you just, you know, teaching your son this and where he's at with it. 2 cars at 19, $15,000 credit. Like, it's just amazing when we're getting things that we didn't learn growing up and able to get it to our children. Like, yeah,
for sure. So like something else, like we talked about like investments, and we talked about you know, numbers, like you specifically asked about numbers. So I put up the 3,000 and I invested in myself. Right. But I literally, like, in the grand scheme of it, it didn't cost me any money. Like everything that I've done, everything that we just discussed thus far, I've really kind of done it for free. Right. I paid for the mentorship with a credit card. I got the Airbnb set up on a credit card. Right. All the furniture that I put in the Airbnb, I can pay the the rent with a credit card, like everything. So like, it's not even my money. So like all the cars I bought, no money down, right? So I literally got all the cars for free. But the Turo community, the Turo customer community is paying for my cars. So they're paying off assets for me and they're making me money and I'm not even spending my own money. Like the name of the game is using other people's money. Like I've been hearing that for, for a very long time at this point, but it just hits different now because it's how I eat. I don't have a job. I refuse to go back to work because something that was happening to me in corporate America, and it's not fair. And I'm sure that it's happened to, many other people, but like I wasn't leveling up as quickly as some of my counterparts were, right? For whatever reason, I don't want to necessarily get into the reasons that I wasn't leveling up. I'll just say it wasn't me, right? I know what I have the ability to do. I know what happens when I walk into a room. I know what happens when I compete, right? And that same kind of stuff wasn't happening in corporate America, like I said, for whatever reason. So I just decided to exit corporate America, write my own script, and completely be accountable for everything that happens, positive or negative, moving forward, right? I'd rather just have it in my own hands and not have to go to work and report to somebody that I know that I'm smarter than, that I know that I'm older than, and I'm smarter than, and I'm more experienced than. And, all of that's subjective too, but I know how I feel about myself. And I feel like I'm that dude. So like when I have to go to work and I have to report to somebody that's not just because they're younger than me, that's a problem. But if I know I'm more seasoned, if I know I'm more educated, if I can prove all of these things, there's really no legitimate reason that somebody else should be reporting. I should be reporting to that person. I think it should be the other way around. But really, I feel like they did me a favor, right? They helped me understand that that wasn't the place for me. I learned a lot of things in corporate America. I learned a lot of things in the military, but just like when I got out of the military, it was time. It was just based on what I had learned about life and what I had learned about the military. It was time for me to exit. And now I've gotten to that chapter in corporate America where it was just time for me to exit. It's just not the place for me. All right, I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life. And I'm literally doing the least amount of work that I've ever done in my entire life. I'm making more money and I'm doing way less work. I have way more time to spend with my family. I have way more time to spend with my two sons. And that's so important to me because I didn't grow up with a father. Like my dad was absent. So like I made a promise to myself and a promise to my children that I would never do to them what my father did to me. So in order for me to be around and to be the kind of dad that I want to be, I can't be spending 8 hours outside the house. I can't spend 8 hours away from my children unnecessarily, building somebody else's business. I need to be building my own business so my children can take over, right? So they don't have to start from scratch when they grow up and get out here into the world. Like, from a wealth perspective, like that's how it goes. Like we have to do better so that our kids can do better. Like, why would you want to start over and start from scratch and get it out the mud if you don't have to? Like, I had to do that. So obviously I'm not trying to let my children go through that unnecessarily. Like, yes, they're going to have to go through some tough things. Yes, they're going to have to prove to themselves that when the going gets tough, like you got to step up, right? But I have to figure out another way because my children are not going to get it out the mud.
Wow, you're preaching, talking spicy. I love it. I love it. Like you hitting so many points, like from those experiences that you went through in corporate and, feeling like the underdog, or they putting you in that category, and putting someone over your experience and, your longevity to, really just like look at that situation to create your own story, to create the life you want. As I always say, like, hey, you great. You know you're great. So you can create that life you want, from that greatness and not let someone else define you, in their own mind about what you should be doing and how quick and, just making you, I guess, putting you in a feeling of inadequacy when you know that, hey, I deserve better than this and I can create better than this for myself if you can't see this in me, this greatness that I have to offer.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think it was that. I don't feel like they felt that I was inadequate in corporate America or incompetent or anything like that. Whatever their reasons were their reasons. But like, so how I look at it, right? I look at it like in the if you take like great basketball players, like who do you think the best basketball player is that ever played?
MJ.
All right, MJ, right? So that's most people would say that, right? But MJ also, I mean, was obviously a great basketball talent in his own right. Do you agree?
Right.
Right, because you think he's the best player ever, right? But when you look at MJ and what MJ did on the floor, he made his teammates better, right? So when I look at my squad, when I look at my kids, right, I gotta make them better, and I'm already turning my kid up, right? So LeBron James is another example. When he goes to a basketball team, everybody's numbers go up because he sees the game differently, right? And so he starts to distribute to other players to give them the bag, right? He can't score all the points. It just doesn't work like that. Like you can't do all the work. Like for me, my mentality is not to invest in any more businesses that actually require me to do the work. Like I want to only invest in passive income streams. Like the Turo game, when I first so my first journey, I shouldn't say my first journey, my most recent journey into entrepreneurship is Turo, right? And I felt like that was pretty passive, right? You got to do some things to make it passive, but I mean the cars do all the work. It's really just a customer service game. When you're talking to your customers on Turo through the Turo Messenger app, you just need to make them feel. You just need to make them feel like you care about them renting your car. You care about them. When they're late from the airport, when they're late dropping off your car. And yeah, I care. I care enough to charge you when you're late. and I and I care enough to charge you when you smoke in my car, right? But I'm gonna be very nice to you.
Extra here.
Right. I'm gonna be very nice to you on the Turo Messenger app when I tell you that you have to pay those fees because I'm running a business. What I learned out here dealing with these people, like these people don't give a damn about your car. They don't give a damn about your Airbnb. Like some stuff in my Airbnb got broke already. Like a dude broke like the sofa already. Like it's crazy. But the thing is like all of that stuff is insured, and I'm not tripping because he's just gonna pay for it. Like when they smoke in your car, they're gonna pay for it. When they're late, if they're 30 minutes late with the Turo, you can call Turo and you can charge them. You can charge them extra. And so every time I get an opportunity, every time I see an opportunity to explore a new line item in my business, I explore those line items, like for sure. Like when somebody smokes, like I think it's like a $250 fee. Like with Turo, you call them, you let them know, take the pictures, and then you charge them. It's not even a big deal.
Exactly, and then it's just up in your bottom line, from their mistake.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're doing this for. I'm not in business to be cool. Right. I'm in business to make money. And so like I get it. Like, in a capitalist society, like all all those super Republicans that, I used to hate back in the day and all the stuff that they used to say, like I get it now. I get it now because any and everybody can do what we're doing. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I do think I'm a pretty smart guy, but I know for a fact that I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, right? All you got to do is you just got to get little small wins, like all the time. I'm not even looking for home runs anymore. If I stumble across a home run, great. But I like the small wins, right? Because you just it builds a habit of winning.
Right. It's a marathon,
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a marathon and not a sprint. Like sometimes with the Turo, some of the months are crazy, like crazy good, and then some of the months, are not as crazy. Like there's definitely like I wouldn't say extreme volatility, but it's predictable volatility. So when you have predictable volatility, you just got to shift your focus elsewhere and just get the bag.
Right. So true. So true. And I thank you for sharing all these gems. So let me ask you this. What would you say to someone who don't know where to start and want to start their entrepreneur journey? What would you say to that person?
I would say get in a room, right? Very similar to a place like where I met you, right? Get in a room with other people that are trying to be on the same mission, right? Which is entrepreneurship. So if you don't have a clue, the best thing to do is to get around other people that are already doing stuff, because they might be doing something that you can do too. And you're going to learn from those other people. That's what I would suggest.
Okay, and how can they reach out to you? You know, what do you have something that you can offer to them, and ways that they can connect with you, Tarryl?
With me individually?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Tarryl1, TARRYL1, and I'm on Facebook at Tarryl Daniels, TARRYLDANIELS. Those are my only 2 social media. Oh, actually, no, I think I do have TikTok. I don't really use it, but yet, because I also realize the importance of social media and how it plays into like business promotion. Like, it just kind of goes hand in hand, and I'm getting to that space right now. So you just kind of got to do it in phases, right? So I got the unit, I got everything set up, it's operational, it's running now. And actually in my first month, I was at 82% occupancy in my first month on my Airbnb, which is pretty good. I'm on track to do comparable numbers this month. So I raised the price a little bit, and I'm still on track. Like, they're still eating it up.
Wow. Congrats on it again. Like, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Can be right here too. In Atlantic Station or close by.
Right.
That being said, y'all, you got to just tune in, like, comment, share, subscribe to the Pink Link Podcast and support your girl. And just as he sat here and shared his greatness, you too are great. And you know that life you want, you create. I mean, the brother is, he dropped those gems on how he just transitioned and transformed to create this lifestyle that he's now, being able to enjoy and share with his family and his children to continue to grow and create. So have a blessed day. Blessings on blessings to you. And thank you once again for tuning in to the Pink Link.